so happy. They got the tag.
I've got to say, King, I don't think there's a more colorful or off-the-wall character in the SmackDown locker room than this man, Paul Burchill.
Why do I get the feeling that Burchill was never allowed to trick-or-treat as a kid? And now he's trying to make up for lost time.
King, if you're going to sit there and make fun of him for dressing like a pirate, you might want to take that crown off first. He's not going to get caught with that one. That went nowhere.
You've got to respect the commitment and the dedication of these superstars to their careers.
No question about it, King. Every superstar on the roster has had to make more sacrifices than any other professional athlete I know.
It really is like being married to your career. There's not much room for anything else.
And marriage is a subject which you happen to be something of an authority. Isn't that right, King?
Come on now, JR. A man doesn't know what true happiness is until he's married. And then it's too late.
And it's been reversed. And there he goes! The submission is locked in!
Oh my gosh! He might make his opponent tap right here!
A reversal. Can he capitalize on it?
I've got to say, JR, I'm really impressed by what we've seen here tonight.
How could you not be, King? These are some of the finest athletes in all of sports entertainment.
I know that, JR. I'm just saying that this has been a great match so far.
It has indeed, King, and I think it's only going to get better from here on out. Boy, what a match. I wouldn't even hazard a guess as to who's going to win this thing.
What? Have you got both your contacts in one eye, JR? It's been obvious to me since the start of the match.
Oh, really? Well, then, why don't you just enlighten the rest of us, King?
No way. I can already tell this is going to be a great match, and I don't want to ruin the ending for you.
You're too kind, King. You're also full of horse manure, as far as I can tell.
Look at the size of the Great Khali, JR. Where do you find someone like that?
The Great Khali's from India, King. But I wouldn't expect to find another human being like him walking the face of this earth.
Let's hope not, JR. One of these guys is already too much. This has gone beyond just being a match, JR. I think these superstars genuinely hate each other.
There's no love lost between these competitors, that's for sure. If looks could kill, somebody would be pushing up daisies right now.
And you've got to admit, that makes for a much more interesting match, JR.
It sure does. But I just hope these superstars can settle their differences in the ring and leave it at that.
He's going for the cover, JR.
You're not going to get him with that one.
Watch out! He reversed it!
He's a slippery devil.
I don't understand how these fans can boo Edge, JR. They got no respect for everything he's done for them.
Oh, you're full of it, King. These fans don't give a damn about Edge. The tag has been made, and now his partner's coming in.
He turned the tables on his opponent with that one. Well, from the looks of things, it's not hard to tell how this one's going to go.
What are you talking about, King? I think this is still an extremely competitive match. Here it comes, the backflip, Urangi slam.
That's a heck of a signature move, JR. I don't think we've ever seen anyone get it from that one. So let me get this straight. This guy, Paul Burchill, is supposed to be a pirate.
That's his story, and he's sticking to it. He claims to be a descendant of Buccaneers. Not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but the legendary Blackbeard himself.
But a pirate? In the WWE? Shouldn't he be off, I don't know, buckling some swatches or something?
These superstars are going to put each other through wrestling hell tonight.
They've already got a pretty good start on that, JR.
They have indeed. I don't think there's an ounce of quit between them.
Yeah, and that's where things get dangerous. If you're too proud to admit that it's not your night, you might wind up risking your career for a single match.
But at the same time, King, no one makes it up the ladder without pushing themselves to the very limit. It's a very fine line to walk. No! No! How can the referee allow something like that?
Come on, JR. You know that the referee's health plan doesn't include vision. You know, JR, when I saw this match on paper, I wasn't too sure about it. But it's turned out a lot better than I thought it would.
I'm not at all surprised, King. I knew this was going to be a terrific matchup.
Oh, come on, JR. You're just talking through your hat. Speaking of hats, when are you going to get rid of that silly thing anyway?
Right about the time you stop wearing that crown, I'd say.
I'd ask you who you want to win this matchup, JR.
Did you see that? Ring the damn bell. You can't let somebody get away with that.
I don't think the ref saw it, JR. And if the ref doesn't see it, it's not illegal. It looks like they've slowed the match down a little. And I think that's some good strategy right there.
It certainly is. I'm sure they're well acquainted with the old expression, fools rush in.
Looks like a tag to me. Show off all you want, but it's not going to win you the match.
No, but getting the crowd behind you can certainly give you the edge. Boy, when you look at these superstars, it really drives home the fact that Raw is the dominant brand of sports entertainment.
Oh, there's no doubt about that, JR. There's not a superstar on the SmackDown roster who could hold a Oh, man, that's going to change the tone of this match, JR.
Yeah, and not for the better either. I wish the refs would actually pay attention to what's going on. King, if you had to get in the ring against the Great, looks like the tag is made. It doesn't appear that Edge is getting much love from this crowd tonight, and who can blame them? They're certainly not getting much from Edge.
That's not true, JR. I'm sure this arena is just full of Edge heads tonight. You might not hear them cheering, but that's probably because they're in awe of the fact that they're watching their favorite superstar.
Or maybe it's because the Edge heads turned on Edge right about the same time he turned on them, King. I think they do a pretty good job of making themselves heard, but with those boos instead of cheers now. This Paul Burchill is a unique rascal, to be sure.
That's one word for it, JR. I might have said ridiculous, but unique works too.
Why? Just because of the way he dresses? That from a man who wears a crown? Don't judge a book by its cover, King. Burchill can go in the ring, believe me.
Maybe so, but that doesn't make that pirate costume any less silly. I've seen guys do some crazy things to get a little booty, but this guy takes the cake.
And there's a little something for the crowd. The best superstars never ignore their fans.
The best superstars also finish off their opponents instead of giving them time to recover.
And there's the cover.
I think we're going.
There's the tag. That's some good teamwork.
I think it's pretty obvious which way this one's going to go, JR.
Well, from my perspective, this is still anybody's match.
I'd like to see things from your perspective, JR, but I'd have to get my hand out of my rear end first.
And Lord knows it's been up there. We could be looking at a pinfall here, folks.
You can look at any professional sport you want, JR, and you won't find more incredible athletes.
He went straight for the pin. No flies on him.
Did you ever think you'd be watching these superstars compete against each other here tonight, JR?
I had a feeling their paths would come across sooner or later. And
He's going for the pin! JR's not going to be happy about this one, folks.
here comes his finishing maneuver. And like the man, this is going to be ugly.
Not half as ugly as the guy performing it, JR. He's a 3 count away from a pinfall. See, JR, this is exactly why Raw is the #1 brand in all of sports entertainment.
You're absolutely right, King. We've got the best superstar, the best fans,
And the best announced team. Don't forget that.
I was going to say that until you interrupted me. Now I'm just hoping I haven't lost Taz's phone number. If one of these superstars starts to build momentum, it could be the beginning of the end of this match.
That's right, JR. You don't see a lot of matches won with 1 or 2 big moves.
You sure don't. You've got to lay the groundwork first. I tell you, King, sometimes I get exhausted. He's got his opponent in a pinning predicament.